Hello. Today in the Christian Orthodox Church, Saint Dionysius is celebrated. He was a first century martyr, converted to Christianity. He was a prominent judge in Athens and became well known as one of the early martyrs to the faith. His name was adopted subsequently by someone who wrote some rather wonderful writings about Christianity in the 7th century. He called himself, this author, this unknown author, called himself Dionysius in order to link him with that early martyr, but it was a very different person. And the mystery around who actually wrote these writings reflects something of the content, because what these writings, one of them's called On the Divine Names, and there's another treatise on the mystery of God. These writings speak about how we find it impossible to really understand God. We don't know deep down who God is. We use divine names, and there are lots of them in the Bible, but each of them, though contributing something to the picture of God, is in other ways inadequate. And the writer of these treatises, who we'll call Dionysius, wants to point out that this recognition that God cannot be contained within our minds, within our thinking, within our rational selves at all, is really very important, because he calls it the divine darkness, and suggests that it's only when we go into the divine darkness, this recognition of our failure to grasp something as magnificent and beyond comprehension as God, that only when we go into our recognition of our failure to grasp the magnitude of everything that God is, that's the beginning of coming to some understanding of God, but at a very different level, not at the level of our mind and of our brain, but at a more intuitive, more mysterious, more deeply responsive way. Well, I think that the notion that being able to say that there's lots we don't know about God is quite helpful and important too. We Christians are often put on the spot when it comes to the question of suffering. Why does God allow people to suffer? But there are a lot of other questions too. Why do the good seem to be the ones who are often victims, whereas people who have no moral values often succeed? Why is it that some people seem to fall fairly easily into a faith? It comes naturally to them. Other people struggle to have a faith, and other people can't see the point of it at all. Why does this happen? There's all sorts of questions about God to which we don't know the answer. Someone once likened God to a huge great ocean, and all we can do is to see something of the waves at its edge and explore its surface. And even those who today go deep into the depths of the ocean recognise that there are huge parts of it that they can't begin to get to grips with. And this is the nature of God, that God is beyond human understanding, and any words that we use, any names that we use, are going to be inadequate, and we need to recognise that. And so today I just want to remind myself that if there's something about my faith that I can't quite get my head round, but my heart responds to God nevertheless, not to worry too much about that, because actually it's Dionysius's point, and a true one, I believe, that there are as many things that we can't say about God as there are things that we can. We need both, and that's the point he makes. But I think often in our Christian lives we neglect to realise that not knowing, recognising the mystery, is a valuable part of the healthy and mature faith.